So for cash flow, we would look at as the cash flow at the total amount. So they go by they will be increasing every year, and that is just the total before subtracting everything. So um, besides this total number, we would also have to take a look at this ending balance. So because the ending balance will determine most of the information in the cash flow statement. So this one is my cash flow for the current year of 2014, and if if I make this simulation runs start from begin, I will be able to see my projection for the year, so I can choose um, which projects I want to go on. But because this one, as I have completed it already, it will only show from 2014 to 2015 and so on. So this will also shows like in the company consolidated, or they can also be broken down into production or retails or licensing. So let me take an example of how I chose this by running another example from my previous choices. I will resume that one. So just to show some example of how I use the cash flow statement into my analysis. So for cash flow, this one is 2013, and they will have a projection of this one going into 2014 of 36.62, and the ending balance of 9.25. So there goes from 9.16 to 9.25, which is only about like point 0.1 or 0.09 of the cash flow ending balance. So if I want to change that, I will select projects, and just this one will show the changes in this number by clicking on which projects I want to choose. These are just proposed projects, so if we choose that, we can see what it will be like for the next year if we choose the project. So I think it is pretty useful to make use of. So let's go ahead and choose grow with me line, and as you can see, the numbers here, they're already changing, and if I unclick that, they will switch back to the thing. So that's just how I use the tools to make my analysis better. So let's go back to my actual simulation that I chose to discuss. So that would be scenario B, and just loading a bit, and just take some time to load. So let's analyze into the project details, like go into details what the projects are about. So for the projects, I would look at NPV, on IRR, and payback period, and PI, or net present value, internal rates of returns, payback period, and net present, or the pro profitability index. So for for my projects, so if I have to choose between projects, because I have a limited budget, so if I have to choose between them, I would look in which one that has the highest MPV and highest return rate of returns, and sometimes in they have the high PI as well, because those are the index number that will return the future value considering current value. And I might consider payback period. However, payback period or lower payback period doesn't necessarily mean the project is better than the other. So I will take a look at that, but I would not take my consideration just based on payback period. And for this one, I will sorry about that, got some glitches earlier, but so for this one I will examine just a few of the projects that I have chosen, because there are a lot of them and I just want to show how I use this number, or how I use the project details to make my decision better. So for 2009, I think I chose the toddler doll accessory line. So this project shows a low risk, and it has a project life cost of 3.14. So I can use that number to compare if I want to choose this project or not. So as you can see, the NPV is almost 7, and the IRR is almost 25%, and the PEI is positive. So we would always choose the positive ones. So for this one is pretty good projects because it shows a low risk, but it shows a pretty good returns. And for for this one, we can also see how the discount rates conducts to how the projects would be like. So let me go and change the um, project discount rates. So right now the rate is 7.85%, and this is for production, and it is within the low risk and medium risk, so it will still show the amount as low risk. So if I change this one to high risk, like 9.0%, and you don't have to make it just like 9, I can still change it to like 10.00 and still see the number. So if I make the discount rate higher, you can see the number changes from like PI earlier. I think it was around 11 something, and right now it's only 6.0. So just like mess around with this one a bit and see if the projects would what the project would be like if we change the numbers. So let me change to another project. So like match my dog clothing line. So like as you can see, this one is high risk. However, as you can see, this PI is going way up, other than 11 something like in the previous projects. This one is 50.01. So that is like a high risk, high return. So if I also take a look down to the investment analysis, I can see what the project would be like for the income statement. So the net income for this one in the year of 2010 would be going down, because the when the project just started, they some of them are not expected to gain an amount, like, or a return in the um, in the fast terms. So but like in the future they will return more of the amounts that we actually invested in them. So that is also another thing that I would need to take to consideration. So would the project outlast their current value, or would the project outweigh their cost and earn more revenue for us in the future? So for this project, like Match My Doll clothing line, it shows a very high risk, but in 2014 it shows a net income of 1.46, and for the net cash flow of this one, it shows a total of 1.76 compared to a loss of cash in the first year when we just invested that one. So my and as well and my number also go up each year by a decent amount. So this one is a very good project to invest in. So that's why I chose this one. And let me show you another one like this doll video game, I think. Oh no, toddler music CD videos. So